The ridiculous Earth custom. The Galactic Coalition station Zenith loomed above the icy blue planet of Kilor's Prime, its rings glinting with the refraction of sunlight across hundreds of alloy corridors and atmospheric domes. Within its central spire, where dignitaries from 100 worlds convened, Earth's newest ambassador strode through polished halls lined with alien onlookers. Captain Alara Voss wore her crisp navy blue diplomatic uniform like armor, every button polished to a mirror shine. Her boots echoed against the metal floor, but the real attention wasn't on her. It was on the creature walking beside her. A golden Labrador retriever trotted proudly at her heel, tongue lolling slightly, tail swaying with practiced poise. His collar bore the insignia of Earth's Joint Diplomatic Corps, and a badge labeled Service Animal, Priority Clearance. The stares from the aliens ranged from puzzled to amused. "Is that some kind of organic luggage?" whispered a tall, jelly-limbed Zephyri to a crystalline Raukai diplomat. No, replied the Raukai, shimmering in amusement. "It's one of their pets, a domesticated animal. Earthlings carry them around like sacred relics. Apparently, they even sleep beside them." Laughter, soft, mechanical, or telepathic, depending on the species, rippled through the corridor. Alara ignored it. "Let them laugh," she muttered under her breath. "They won't for long." Inside the central chamber, the Coalition Council had already assembled. Towering insectoids, gas-based life forms in hover chambers, and floating neural clusters all turned as she approached the podium. Councillor Zarek of the Zari Dominion leaned forward. His thick, scaled body shifted with disdain as he spoke through a universal translator. "Captain Voss, Earth's integration protocols are adequate. But may we ask, why bring a non-sentient creature into our Hall of Reason?" Max sat beside Alara, gaze scanning the room, calm but alert. His ears flicked as the alien's voice rumbled through the chamber. "He's not just a creature," Alara replied smoothly. "He's my partner. His name is Max. He's trained in over 130 verbal commands, can detect over 50 scents, and has a situational threat response time under 0.8 seconds. More amusement. The counselor clicked his mandibles. "A primitive bodyguard. A companion," she said with emphasis, "and more loyal than any diplomat in this chamber." A low murmur echoed through the room. Counselor Zelavan, a bioluminescent intelligence encased in a floating orb, pulsed in orange light, their species' signal for curiosity. Earth values such emotional connections to subsentient life. But surely you see the optics? Bringing an animal into the seat of the galaxy's highest authority. Alara nodded once. "I do. And I also see the value in showing you who we are. We didn't come to your coalition to pretend. This," she gestured to Max, "is who we are. We bond, we trust, and we protect those we care about, even if they walk on four legs." A few delegates remained silent. Others chuckled or whispered again. The Zari general was visibly irritated now. "Typical. You preach peace while keeping a predator at your side. It reeks of contradiction." Max's ears perked. He sensed the tone. Alara rested a hand gently on Max's neck. "Predators don't choose violence. They respond to it. If you're worried about what Max might do, perhaps it says more about your intentions than his." The chamber quieted. One by one, the council's glowing orbs and alien forms shifted their attention. Whether they understood or not, whether they accepted or mocked, Alara had made her statement. She concluded her address, thanked the council, and turned to leave. Outside the chamber, the tension lifted. Max yawned and nudged her hand with his nose. "I know, boy," she whispered, giving him a scratch behind the ears. "They don't get it yet, but they will." As they walked back toward their diplomatic quarters, Alara's mind shifted to the next day's schedule, negotiations with the Varn Syndicate. Rumors said the Varn weren't thrilled about Earth's inclusion in the coalition. She'd have to watch her back, but she wasn't worried, because Max was always watching it for her. Just as they reached a junction near the habitat rings, Max froze. His body went rigid, eyes fixed down a side corridor. A low growl began to form in his throat. "Max!" Alara whispered, instantly alert. Three figures emerged from the shadows, cloaked in ripple camouflage gear. Varn operatives, their weapons raised, aimed directly at Alara. Before she could react, Max exploded into motion. With a flash of teeth and fury, the Council's laughter died somewhere in the back of Alara's mind. Because when you threaten a dog's owner, you meet the part of the pet they never warned you about. Instinct before orders. The first Varn assassin never saw him coming. Max launched with a snarl that echoed off the alloy walls, a blur of gold fur and fury. The alien's disruptor fired wide as Max's jaws clamped down on his forearm, bones crunching beneath the pressure. The second attacker raised his weapon, but Max spun, yanking the first Varn into his line of fire, taking the bolt meant for Alara. Alara hit the ground hard, stunned from the initial blast that grazed her shoulder. Her vision blurred, head ringing. All she could hear was Max, barking, growling, a flash of movement as he fought with deadly precision. The corridor became chaos. Max barreled into the second Varn, knocking him into a wall hard enough to dent the alloy. Claws raked, teeth tore. The Varn screeched in pain and terror. The third assassin hesitated, then fled. But Max didn't chase. Instead, he skidded back to Alara's side, whining urgently, licking her face. Blood, some is, most not, dripped from his muzzle. His eyes scanned the shadows, body still trembling with the primal drive to protect. Max, Alara gasped, clutching his thick neck as she pulled herself upright. I'm okay. You did good, boy. Real good. Footsteps thundered down the hallway. Coalition security units, their forms a mix of exosuits and biomechs, arrived too late. The attackers were already neutralized, 2 down, 1 gone. One of the security officers, a bristling insectoid named Kravzer, raised his weapon as he saw Max covered in blood. Stand down, Alara snapped, staggering to her feet. That dog just saved my life. The insectoid hesitated, then lowered his rifle. We saw footage. Your companion responded with lethal force. And thank God for that, she said coldly. Unless the Coalition prefers their ambassadors dead. Kravzer's antennae twitched. The attackers were Varn. Rogue operatives, it seems, but this could destabilize the peace accords. Then make sure it doesn't, she said. I'll file the report. But right now, Max needs medical attention. Another officer stepped forward, a soft-voiced avian medic. She scanned Max, no severe injuries. Superficial wounds. But she paused, reading the canine's vital signs. He remained calm while fighting. Not berserk. His heart rate, elevated but controlled. He was trained to do this, Alara said softly. But instinct led the way. Later, in the Coalition infirmary, Alara sat beside Max's recovery pod. He didn't need much, mostly cleaning and hydration. A few patches of fur were burned, but nothing deep. Still, she couldn't stop replaying the moment in her mind. How fast he moved, how deliberate he had been. Not just aggressive, strategic. A soft chime sounded. Ambassador Selvek of the Halari Confederation floated into the chamber, his translucent form glowing with quiet concern. We've reviewed the incident, Captain Voss, he said. Your companion acted with lethal precision, uncanny for a non-sentient. Max is a dog, Alara said firmly. He's not sapient. But don't make the mistake of thinking that makes him mindless. Selvek paused. The Council is reconsidering its classification of Earth animals. This is not the first time humanity has demonstrated unusual partnerships with non-sentients. Horses, dolphins, now canines. Not partnerships, she corrected. Alliances, bonded through millennia. Dogs chose us long before we understood what that meant. They became our guardians. Our family. Selvek floated closer, light pulsing in curiosity. What drives such loyalty? Love, Alara said, stroking Max's head. An instinct, but mostly trust. A trust we've never betrayed. The next day, surveillance footage of Max's defense leaked into interstellar networks. Alien newscasters, digital forums, and military analysts began dissecting every second. The precision of Max's strikes. His decision to pull a Varn into enemy fire. The way he shielded Alara before checking for further threats. Terms like subsentient guardian, and battle-trained beast were tossed around. But what truly caught the galaxy's attention were the final frames. Max curled protectively around Alara, eyes wide, still searching for danger. His body a living shield. One viral comment translated across a dozen languages. If this is how humans train their pets, what are their warriors like? Back aboard her assigned quarters, Alara sat in silence, sipping rehydrated coffee. Max lay at her feet, tail thumping softly as he chewed on a protein bone. A message pinged on her datapad from Admiral Targan, the Coalition's supreme military liaison, to Captain Alara Voss. Subject: Urgent Council session tomorrow. You and your companion are requested to appear before the High Council for formal review. Presence of Max is not only permitted, it's requested. We expect questions, and perhaps apologies. Targan. Alara looked down at Max and smiled. They wanted a good diplomatic showpiece, she murmured. Instead, they got a legend. Max wagged his tail in approval. Tomorrow, they would walk back into that council chamber together. And this time, no one would laugh. Unleashed. The grand chamber of the Galactic Coalition shimmered with layered energy fields as dignitaries and envoys filed into their seats. Suspicion and anticipation filled the air like static before a thunderstorm. This session wasn't about trade or treaties. This was about a dog. Max walked beside Alara with steady purpose, his coat brushed clean, wounds healed, and golden eyes alert. The crowd was quieter than usual. No laughter, no mocking glances, no condescending smiles, just silence and unease. Alara stood tall as she reached the podium, Max sitting at her side like a statue. She looked around at the array of alien life forms, floating neural sacs, crystalline beings, carbon, and silicon-based life, all watching intently. I stand before you today, she began, not to defend my companion, but to challenge your assumptions. A murmur passed through the chamber. Many of you laughed when I brought Max here. A pet, you said, a primitive indulgence. But when I was attacked in a coalition-controlled corridor, it wasn't your security that saved me. It wasn't a droid, a guard, or a shield. She turned and looked down at Max, who glanced up with soft eyes. It was him. A large holoscreen behind her lit up with the footage from the attack. Coalition surveillance drones had captured every second in brutal clarity. Max's reaction time, the takedown, his use of one attacker as cover from a disruptor blast. He fought with the precision of an elite soldier, but also the unshakable emotional drive of a protector. Max didn't kill out of orders or programming. He fought because someone dared hurt his person. The chamber remained still. Then, a sudden motion. Counselor Varric, an imposing Var noble, stood from his seat, his mandibles twitching in irritation. This is emotional manipulation, he snapped. You parade this creature and dramatize a skirmish. Are we to base coalition policy on the behavior of an animal? Alara didn't flinch. Then perhaps you'd prefer a live demonstration. Before the Varn could respond, the chamber doors slammed shut and a blaring alarm howled. Council security burst in through a side entrance. This session is compromised, shouted Kravzir, the insectoid security chief. We've identified another Varn operative inside the chamber. Armed. Dangerous. Chaos erupted as delegates scrambled for cover. Shields deployed. Bodyguards surrounded their charges. Alara turned toward Max. He was already gone. Across the chamber, a cloaked figure rose from behind the Helari envoy's row, pulling a concealed disruptor from his robe. His target was clear, Alara. But Max had already crossed the room. With a blur of fur and force, Max launched himself over a council bench, crashing into the would-be assassin just as the weapon discharged. The bolt flew wild, striking a pillar. Delegates screamed. Max pinned the attacker to the floor with brutal efficiency, his teeth locked on the alien's wrist. The disruptor clattered across the floor. Security piled in, dragging the Varn away. Max returned to Alara's side, panting, blood on his muzzle, yet calm, waiting for her signal. And she gave it. Sit, she whispered. He did. The silence that followed was not just shock, it was respect. Counselor Zelevin pulsed with blue light. The animal neutralized a second assassination attempt in under 4 seconds, with 0 casualties. Counselor Zurich, previously one of Max's loudest critics, gave a slow, reluctant nod. There are war beasts bred across 100 worlds that do not possess such discipline. Selvek, the glowing Helari ambassador, floated forward. We underestimated the significance of this bond, he admitted. This is no simple pet. This is an extension of you, a warrior of loyalty and instinct. Alara breathed slowly. Max is not special to humanity. He is one of many. Millions of dogs on Earth would have done what he did, because we bred them for partnership. But what they give us is something no species can replicate: unconditional loyalty. A loyalty we repay. There were no more objections. Later that day, the Coalition passed the Sentient-Adjacent Ally Accord, a new category that recognized select Earth animals as legally protected entities, capable of diplomatic access, battlefield roles, and defense rights. Max was the first. He received the Coalition Guardian Medal, the highest honor ever given to a non-sentient being. In the press room, Alara knelt beside him while flashes lit the air. "Good boy," she whispered. "You showed them." Max licked her cheek, tail wagging, eyes tired but proud. The galaxy had come expecting quaint stories about strange Earth habits. Instead, they had seen something primal, something powerful, the bond between a human and her dog. Loyalty beyond species. 3 solar cycles had passed since Max's second intervention shook the Coalition Council. The galaxy had changed in subtle but unmistakable ways. In the spires of Helari diplomacy schools, Max's footage was now required viewing under cross-species loyalty protocols. Zari military academies began studying canine instinct alongside predator suppression tactics. Even the skeptical Varn Syndicate, humbled by the exposure of their rogue elements, issued a formal apology to Earth and a request for limited trade in Earth defense canines. But it was what happened inside the Coalition itself that mattered most to Alara. Inside the grand amphitheater of Station Zenith, a new statue stood. Not of a general, not a president, not a hero in armor. It was Max, cast in smooth silver alloy. The sculpture captured the dog mid-leap, jaws open, muscles tensed. Beneath the statue, etched in 7 galactic tongues, was a single line. Loyalty needs no translation. Alara stood quietly beside the monument, watching as a group of young human cadets took turns placing their hands on the base, whispering to each other in awe. Max sat at her side, now an interstellar symbol of loyalty and courage, but utterly unchanged, still just a dog who wanted scratches and snacks. He turned and barked once at her, tail wagging. "Yeah, I know," she chuckled. "We're late." They proceeded to the Coalition's Hall of Recognition. The formal session was smaller than the others. No assassination attempts, no arguments, just a gathering of delegates for one final statement. Ambassador Selvek hovered at the center, his soft glowing form dimmed in reverence. "We are here today," he said, "to formally acknowledge the unique alliance between Earth and its domesticated companions, and to recognize the first of such beings as more than a pet, but as a guardian." Max stepped forward at Alara's signal and sat squarely at the center of the circular chamber. A technician activated the golden emblem hovering above. The emblem spiraled, scanning Max, then projected his image into the center in holographic display. Battles, reactions, moments of fierce defense and quiet companionship. Selvek continued. "Max of Earth, by unanimous vote, the Coalition grants you Guardian status, an unprecedented honor. You are to be treated as an ally in defense matters, given free access to any non-classified zone alongside your bonded partner, and protected under interstellar law." Max sneezed. The chamber chuckled gently, the tension broken. Alara stepped up next. She took a breath. "Most of you will never understand what it means to bond with a creature like Max. You think we trained him, and we did. But he trained us too, to be watchful, to listen, to love without conditions." She scanned the room, voice steady. "You can call him subsentient. You can label him instinctive. But in the end, Max didn't ask for permission to save my life. He didn't hesitate. And he didn't consider politics. He acted on loyalty, not because he was ordered, but because he cared. No one spoke. Then Counselor Zarek, ever the skeptic, rose. Perhaps the measure of a civilization is not only in how it treats its highest minds, but how it bonds with its lowest. He nodded toward Max. Earth, it seems, has passed that test. Later, as the delegates filed out, Elara stayed behind in the chamber, her fingers brushing the sleek golden edge of Max's metal. You know you changed them, right? She whispered. Max leaned his head against her leg. 3 months later. Earth, Memorial Complex, New Geneva. The monument was identical to the one on Station Zenith, only larger, surrounded by trees, flowers, and the laughter of children. Veterans stood with their service dogs, some old and graying, others fresh from active duty. Max lay beneath a shady tree, dozing in the grass. He no longer needed to prove anything. He was home. A young boy approached quietly, no older than 6, with wide eyes and careful steps. Is that him? The boy asked Elara. The one from Vid? She nodded, kneeling beside him. That's Max. Can I pet him? Ask him. The boy knelt beside Max and extended a hand. Hi, Max. I'm Toby. Max opened one eye, sniffed, then licked the boy's hand gently. Elara smiled. As the sun dipped low and the monument glowed in the golden light, Elara turned to look at the words once more. They laughed to human pets until they saw what happens when you threaten a dog's owner. It wasn't just a title anymore. It was a warning, a truth, a legacy. Because in the vast, cold galaxy full of warships and politics and power, the warmest, fiercest thing you could ever face was a loyal dog defending their human.